Good evening, everyone. I'm not sure if you are seeing me. Let me start again. Okay, hi, everyone. And welcome to the session today, Mated or Matched. So we're going to be having an amazing afternoon, and I hope that you are all ready to ask other questions. And if you're asking, yes, I decided to outfit myself today in a little idea of what it would kind of look like if you're going to be getting married. So we're going to be having some amazing persons today. We're going to be a part of our rap session. So I hope you have all the questions written down and you are ready. So here's the question. Are you mated or simply matched? We're going to be getting behind whether or not we are ready to look exactly what God has to offer when it comes on to marriage. I mean, after Here Comes the Bride, you have done the hair, you have done the makeup, you have bought the dress. Is that all there is to marriage? Is there more? I want to know. So we're going to be asking couples today, was he the one? Was she really the one? And how did you know? Are you sure that your mate really is your soulmate? Or was it something else? So let us sit back and listen as we listen to stories from 5 different couples as they share their life experiences with us today. So remember, it is something old, something blue, something borrowed, something not yours, something old, something new, something borrowed, yes, something blue. And after all that, and all the money that went into the planning, and the moment the reception was over, and the moment you drove away in the limousine with a lot of pans, I don't know why we have these sardine tin and these baked bean tins hitched to the back of a car, and it rumbles down the road and it tells everybody, just married, and everybody's so excited. Now, did the excitement die, or was the fire just getting started? So this is the lineup for tonight. So we're going to be having 5 couples, and the range of the marriages from 33 years of marriage down to about 3 months. So we have newlyweds and we have persons with multiple anniversaries. So this is what will happen. So Leo will be doing our par, and then it will be followed by Jamarli, who will be giving us the icebreaker. So Leo, can you kindly come on and start the prayer as we begin our rap session?
Hello, everyone. Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, O Lord, for this time. We thank you for life. We thank you for this opportunity to look into marriage, that great institution that you made at the beginning, one of the two, the other being the Sabbath. We thank you, O Lord, that you have blessed us with this gift, and you have blessed us with your Holy Spirit. We ask that your Spirit will draw close to us, and that whatsoever is done and said will be to your honor and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so very much, Leo. We're going to invite Jamarli Wasom with our icebreaker.
All right, good night, everyone. Tonight's icebreaker will be in the form of a little game, I guess. So it's called Can You Name It? All right. So I'm going to you're going to identify some words beginning with the beginning with can, after I give you some phrases. So for example, I'm gonna say a can that gives light, and the answer would be a candle, because the word begins with can. Everybody understand?
Yes.
All right, let's go. So the first one is a can that is sweet.
Candy. Candy.
All right, that's good. That's correct.
Corned beef.
Next one is a can that is Truthful.
Candid.
All right, that's correct also.
Yes.
A can that is a savage.
That is a savage.
Cannibal.
Cannibal.
A cannibal. Yeah.
Yes, correct. A can that is a country.
Canada.
Canada.
Oh, you guys are really good. A can that crosses off.
Cancel.
Oh, yes.
Correct, correct. A can that is a way a horse runs.
Canter.
Correct.
Okay.
The next one is a can you can row in.
Canoe.
Canoe.
Can you use the
Canoe.
correct answer? Yes.
Canoe.
A can that is an astronomical sign.
Cancer.
Cancer.
Oh, hate that one.
A can taken on hikes.
Canned food.
No.
Canteen.
Canvas.
Come again.
Canteen.
Cannabis.
Canvas.
Canvas. No. A can taken on hikes.
Canopy.
No.
Cantaloupe.
Canteen.
No.
Canteen.
Canteen. Canteen is the correct answer.
Canteen.
A can that is a fruit.
Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe.
Right. A can that projects from a vertical support. A can that projects from a vertical support.
Cantilever.
Cantilever.
Correct. A can that is a Chinese language.
Cantonese. Cantonese.
Correct. A can used to paint on.
Canvas.
Canvas.
A can that is a deep valley.
Cavern.
Canyon.
Canyon
Yes.
is the correct answer. A can that is used for irrigation waterway.
Canal.
Correct. A can that is also a bird.
Canary.
And the last one is a can that is a card game.
That is a what?
Card game. A can that is a card game.
Can.
Can
No, that's
Can
not.
you guess?
No.
Card game.
Can you give me a
Can
clue?
that is a card game. It starts with the word can.
No.
Obviously.
I know, right?
The game that we play.
A can that is a card game. This one I think is a bit difficult.
Can you guess the answer?
No, that's not it. It's one word.
I give up.
7 letters.
Give me the last letter.
The last one.
The last letter is
We're
A.
Adventists. We don't play a card game.
Exactly. All right, so I'm going to give this one out. The answer is canister.
What?
I wouldn't have gotten that. I wouldn't have gotten it.
I don't know what that
And that is the end of our icebreaker.
Wait. What was that last one? I didn't hear it.
Canister.
Canister?
Canister, yeah. C-A-N.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, I've never heard of that one.
Same. All right, guys. Thank you for participating.
Cool,
You're
cool.
welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I want to thank Jamarli so much for that game. Had no idea we had so much word with the word can in it. Okay, so it's my task to introduce to you the 5 couples that we're going to be meeting tonight. So we have Pastor Dean Fletcher, Mr. and Mrs. How do I say that? Pastor and Mrs. Dean Fletcher, right? Pastor and Mrs. Javine Griffiths, Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Samuels, Mr. and Mrs. Romaine Williams, and Mr. and Mrs. Bell. So the Griffiths won't be able to make it tonight. So we're going to be having 4 couples. All right, so this is how it will happen. So the couples are going to introduce themselves. They'll say how long they have been married. let us do it a little bit differently. Can you guess, of all the names I just mentioned, let me say them again, which do you think got married or has been married for the past 33 years? Do you think it was Pastor Dean Fletcher? Do you think it was Mr. and Mrs. Samuels, or Mr. and Mrs. Romaine Williams, or Mr. and Mrs. Bell? Who do you think? I see one
Mr. and
person saying
Mrs.
the
Bell.
Bell. Yes. Okay. So Mr. and Mrs. Bell, that's a long time. I wasn't even born then. So congratulations. All right. So we're going to be asking the couples to please come on, and they're going to be telling us how they met, what drew them to their partner, and how did the wedding go? And then we're going to get real. So each couple will get 2 minutes. I know it's a long lifetime story. We only need 2 minutes. How you met, how were you attracted to the person, and how was the wedding? So let us start off with the veterans in the building. Mr. and Mrs. Bell, please come on and answer for us. Are the Bells here? Not. I'm not seeing the Bells. The Bells, are you here?
Yes.
Yes, I hear the
Oh.
voices.
I'm hearing the voices. Hi, brother and sister Bell. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Something, of course, and he wore blue. Royal. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so I want to ask the question. How did you meet? How did you meet?
It's a long time, I have to remember.
I remember going to look for my grandmother, and I had a cousin living nearby. I went to look for my cousin, and when I went there, I saw Mr. Bell at the time. I think that's where we met. That my cousin.
Did your heart skip a beat when you saw him?
I don't remember.
Mr. Bell, was your heart beating fast?
Yes, it was.
I believe.
Yeah, and I look at the beautiful lady and say, this is mine by all means.
Well, you know, say lyrics, so. All right, it is obvious that you both are still in love because you are glowing, and that is so beautiful. So tell me, what was your very first interaction like? What did you say to each other? Hi, what was it like? What was the first interaction?
Honestly, that is hard to remember.
I think those were the days when the man would talk and the female would use her foot and dig in the earth and pick all the leaves off the tree and put them on the ground. So the man would do all the talking and the lady just blush. I remember.
Well, she is blushing up to this day.
Where were you?
Okay, all right. One last question before we start digging into your lives. One more question. So what was the wedding like? You had a big wedding. What was the wedding like?
It was very simple. It was in a crusade time, and I decided that I used to be a member of the church before, and I want to go back to church. So we had a talk, and it was just like me and him and the witnesses.
Okay,
Wasn't big.
wasn't big. All right, thank you so very much. I'll be back with you soon. Thank you so very much. Let's go on to the other couple. Thank you so very much, Mr. and Mrs. Bell, 33 years old. And oh, by the way, their anniversary is coming up soon.
I want to know that.
Yes, I just found out. All right, so the Bells will be back with you. So let us invite Mr. and Mrs. Samuels. Mr. and Mrs. Samuels, your turn. How did you all meet? Tell me about it.
Why you want to use your mic?
Turn off yours.
Wow, lady in yellow.
Hi.
Hi, hi. So the Samuels, so you have been married for 9 years, right? And you knew each other for the past 17 years. Yes, you know, like Matlock, I'm on the case. I want to find out your business. You know, we have to learn from the best. Okay, so how did you meet?
Actually, we met in high school. So I was going
high
to
school was
Marymount
that?
at the time, and he was going to the business section of Marymount.
Okay. All right. So what was your first interaction like?
Okay, all right. Actually, she didn't know me at the time, but you know, being a part of a school that had 15 or 1600 girls, and I'm like I was like three of the third, about 7 of us as boys went to the school at the time, and I saw her and I decided that, you know, this girl is gonna be my girl, you know. So that's basically it. You know, she didn't know me, but I had to introduce myself. And the enough person I am, yeah, she would have to definitely start talking.
Were you nervous? Did your mouth become dry? Did you trip over your word? Did you buck your toe? You're sweating? Because I mean, 1,600 girls and you chose the perfect one. I mean.
Actually, yeah, you know, all right. I wasn't nervous to approach her, but you know, I guess she wanted me to prove that I really liked her. So what she did was evening time, you know, you're at a school, you know, yeah, a lot of girls like you. You don't even have to say anything to the girl. And then she's like, come, walk me to the bus stop.
Yeah, carry my bag.
And give me her bag to carry. So she wanted the entire school to realize, you know, that's Marymount tonight. The entire school to realize that, listen, this guy, him like me and me like him. So I guess, you know, I didn't know.
Wow, I like the way she was making her mark. So first interaction, you brought her bag, you were always there. What was the wedding like?
Oh. The wedding was a wow factor, you know. It was.
Well, I had him waiting for a year before I finally said, we're ready to do this. So we got engaged for a year, and then.
And she don't want to talk the part that she had me waiting in the church almost 3 hours, like 2.5 hours. To one of my, like the best man said, you know, you need to call it off still because she now but come in. So yeah, like 2.5 hours.
Man, you must be sweating.
I was.
Your jacket so wet up.
And, you know, I was worried about the, you know, you choose this girl over every girl, and then you spend up this one bag of money, and then this girl doesn't turn up. I went, no, this is serious, you know. But it worked out.
My gosh! So 1 year to say, well, let's go, and then 3 more hours to walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
That must have been amazing. So thank you so very much for that, and we'll be back with you, the Samuel. All right, so let us introduce. Ooh, I see some pretty people. I'm seeing the Fletchers. Highlight. Whoa, blue and blue. Cool, serene. So we have right now Pastor and Mrs. Dane Fletcher. All right, and he is the youth director for JAMU. So, question to you both. How did you meet? What was the first interaction like?
We met under unfortunate circumstances.
I would love to hear the story.
While planning a funeral.
Ooh.
So it was painful. It was painful.
Okay, that was interesting. Okay, so you met at a funeral.
No, we were planning the funeral.
Oh, we're planning the funeral when you both met. Okay, so what was the first interaction like?
I guess I sensed that she was from my parish, and then I paid attention to her last name, and then I asked if she's related to a certain guy. And then she said, what's his last name? And I said, same as yours. And then she smiled and said, that's my brother. Yeah, so I actually went to high school. I was in a lower grade than her brother. He was at some point in time in class with my sister. And then another of her sisters, I knew her in that she was in a lower grade than me at the same high school.
But we never met.
Yes.
During that time.
And somebody needs to plan some more funerals. I see it in the chat.
Yes, I noticed that too, right? Okay, so
same parish. We never met in the parish. We met in Houston.
Okay, great for that. So tell me now, so Pastor, what was the dating process like? Were you quoting Songs of Solomon or what was it?
No. You see,
He has lyrics, but not Songs of Solomon.
Well, she said it.
No Songs of Solomon. And it may be a little weird for persons because he's a pastor, and so you think that courtship represents something else for a pastor, but it didn't for us. It had regular things in there, regular going out to lunch or going out to dinner, driving to the country, and yeah, so it was not all about worship.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm
I should say firstly that we learned to be friends.
Yeah.
Okay, don't answer all the questions yet because I have some questions that I need to ask and I don't want to give away any answers just yet. Last question for you before we go in depth. When she was walking down the aisle, Pastor, how much time did your heart skip a beat? You choke, the sweat run down your, how much time? Be honest.
You know, the truth is that it was just calm and easy like Sunday morning when it was, because that's how it was. I wasn't saying nervous, and she's looking at me like that. I wasn't, because it was a settled deal. It's not that I was wondering if she would run away, because I know she wouldn't, right? And it's not that
you couldn't be excited.
I was excited, yes, but I was excited, but controlled excited, right? Because I was pleased with the decision that I was making. It was that my heart was at peace. Understand? It was a fulfilling experience for me. I felt like I was standing on top of the world.
Easy, Pastor. See the lyrics?
Yes, I hear the lyrics. So before I give away all the lyrics, because I want to be writing down some just in case when my time come, I'm going to need some lyrics myself. Let us introduce the Williams. So we'll be back with you, Miss Pastor and Mrs. Fletcher. So let's invite Mr. and Mrs. Romaine Williams, and they'll be answering some questions for us. The Williams.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you doing? Hi. Nice to see you.
We're tired. We actually had an excursion today. And we just got back in. So yeah, we're tired. But we're here.
I don't want to sound jealous. We went on an excursion today. We're so tired. Okay. So the question that I want to ask you is, how did you both meet?
Out of the blue. That's how we call it. Out of the blue. It was about 3 years ago. I just got a new phone. A blue. Blue the act. Yes. So I just got a blue, and I saw his number in the phone, so I decided to say hi. I would have I would have seen him a year before that. I knew him a long time, yes, because we went to camp together. So it was like a year later that I just got a phone, saw the number in my phone, and I said, I'm gonna say hi. And that's where it all started.
Yeah, and on my end, I was actually praying, because I prayed a specific prayer, because I told God, so listen, it seems as if my eyes are not sanctified, because all the ladies that I am chasing after, I end up heartbroken and heart-wrecked and headaches and pains in the limbs and all sorts of things. So I prayed a specific prayer and said, listen, God, listen, you are running things now, you know. You have gotten my attention. So anybody that I should get, you are going to send them to me, you know, and that was a prayer that I prayed, and I left it there. So when it reached about 6 months, I go down now, I'm still single. I said, God, you never say why you not still, you know. But you know, she messaged me, and then when I saw the message, I'm like, I saw this young lady before. And then when I took a closer look at her, I'm like, all right, by the hook or the crook, she's not getting away, because I believe that the Lord would have sent her. So, you know, that's where the conversation started, actually on WhatsApp. And here we are.
Wow. And you're going to be celebrating, so you were 3 years. 3 years strong. So you are babies.
December is 3 years.
December is 3 years. So based on what I'm listening to, I need to be more involved in planning funerals, buying a blue phone.
Yeah.
And go to school. Let's the camera bag. And right, okay. So last question to the Williams before we get to the real deal.
All right.
Mrs. Williams, how did you feel when you were walking down the aisle and you saw your husband waiting for you right at the altar?
Wow. I kind of wanted to cry.
Oh.
But I mean, the words that were going around in my head was like, what am I doing? I was like, okay. And then, I mean, after that, by the time I saw him and we met halfway down the aisle, I was comfortable. And I said, okay, Lord, this is it.
All right. So so it seems like everybody was geared up and ready when it was the altar moment on the wedding day. All right. So the cake was awesome. You had the non-alcoholic wine. You did the first dance. You all threw rice on each other that could feed a multitude. I don't know what throwing rice up at people for. I don't know what that means. And the card that says just married, you're announcing to the world with a bag of baked bean tin and sardine tin attached to a string down the road. All right. So you are now married. You are now seeing her in her head tie, and you are seeing them in their realest elements. Now, let us start. Let us get into the real deal of the matter now. What has been the best thing about being married. And I'm going to start off first with the Williams because they were last. What was the best thing about being married?
For us, I think the best part about being married is just having someone to talk to all the time, because we talk a lot. I am a teacher. My husband is a counselor. So we talk a lot. So having someone to talk to is probably one of the best things about being married.
True.
Thank you for that.
Having someone to listen to you, like really listen to you, and not just hear what you're saying.
But they listen.
Yeah.
All right, need to write that down. All right. Brother and sister Samuels, best thing about being married.
Well,
best thing about being married.
The best thing about being married. Can I answer more than one? Don't it? All right. On the serious aspect of it, it's the support factor, and the fact that you have as a man, you can't own your own place. You're a lion now, you're a king now. You have your own place. You understand?
Yes.
I can't leave out in sex and them and your own thing. I know it's supposed to be PG, right? It is PG.
You can't talk.
Yeah,
that's a part of it. If that's the best thing,
no,
it's one of the best things.
And it's one of the best things. That's why we have more than one thing, So you own that. That is yours. You call it Fimi. Yes.
All right.
Overall, still, the support factor and the love, and as the Williams say, you have somebody who you're connected to and you can talk to and share things.
Companionship.
Yes.
The companionship.
Yes, that is the word. That is the word, Asia. Companionship.
Yeah. All right. Pastor and Sister Fletcher, what has been the best thing, the best thing about being married?
There are a few, but one of the main things is having somebody you can build with, having somebody you can share with, having somebody who you can remove your mask with, but it's somebody who is in your corner, somebody who is in your bubble, no matter what. That's one of the best things for me.
One of the best things. Wow, that's so sweet.
That's in addition to the unmentionables. That's in addition to the unmentionables.
You can mention the unmentionables if you want, sir. You can go ahead.
You understand what I mean by
I understand. The lion just spoke about it a while ago and he's talked. All right. Brother and Sister Bell, best thing so far about being married? Brother and Sister Bell?
Hello?
Yes. What's the best thing about being married?
Well, the best thing about marriage for me is a companionship.
Yeah.
You have somebody who you can relate to. And it's not the best, but it's a part of the best because everything about it is good, nice.
Mm-hmm. So, all right.
And having children, especially me.
And having children. All right. So the things I want to ask, is this. When you're in church and they're describing marriage and they say, oh, it's a fairy tale and it's all about rose petal and you live happily ever after. No, question I want to ask you. What was the biggest lie that they told you about marriage that you had to find out for
There's no such happily. Yes, there's a happily ever after, but in marriage, the fairy tale part of it, that is not there. It is not.
There's no fairy tale.
There's no fairy tale. It's real.
It's real then.
Right.
Yeah, because also in marriage, you must have ups and downs. And if it don't come in the beginning, it will come in the middle. Or it can come at the end. But you must know how to deal with it.
So, Brother Bell, we need to ask a question. So, the very first time you had a fight, like a real argument, how did you react? I mean, this beautiful empress that seemed like she can't even mash ants, all of a sudden is in an argument with you. What you do?
Honestly, to be frank, I never read that stage.
What?
Because, yes, my mother always told me that you don't use fire to out fire.
Ah.
So when you are blazing, I will come.
Oh, so one is always the water when the next one is the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So let me write that one up because I need to know how to be both water and fire. Excellent. All right. So let us ask the Williams now. The Williams, what was the biggest lie about marriage that you had to debunk?
But I would for them.
Yeah.
Just give me one.
It's probably different for us.
Okay.
Yeah. So just reiterating the whole fairy tale thing, like you get married, everything is gonna be pitched up perfect. But honestly speaking, me never know say me mean until me married. Me never know say me selfish. Yeah, me never know say me could have cuss. Me never know say me could have up somebody, my wife. No, I'm being real. No, okay. All these things because you meet her December 24th, walk down the aisle, go meet her, I would go in front of the pastor and get married. So I said, yes, I will never get upset with this lady or at this lady, but believe me, sometimes I Jimmy get on my nerves.
So question. So when she gets on your nerves, like the last one, or the second to last one, what conflict resolution techniques do you use?
Well, one of the things that work for me,
the 2 R's,
is you have 2 R's, react and respond. 2 R's, react, respond. So I have been learning not to react, but to respond. Because when you react, you're going to behave in an impulsive manner, something similar to a bamboo fire. That's sort of right. And then that's dangerous. And then the bamboo fire catch piece of cloth and the house, it burn on the curtain, it burn on the chair them, till it catch deep in the room and then the whole house. Yeah. So responding is paramount.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. Just based on the comments, me here said the Williams they just wants to pose on the camera. One pose here. All right. So to the Williams, to the Samuels, what was the biggest lie that you had to debunk as a couple?
All right, marriage doesn't come with a manual, let me tell you that. And we have to learn to compromise because we have incidents. Sometimes we're in a quarrel and as they rightfully said, I am the fire, right? So I am going to add heat to it and I'm going to add fuel to it. And then on the other hand, now he's the one who calms down the situation or makes it a little simpler, easier to handle. So I don't back down, but he's the one that says, all right, babes, or he walks away from it, or he says nothing, but I'm behind him with it constantly.
Right.
I see if we're there and she be talking and I don't answer her.
Yeah.
I'm sure say me I get a poke in my side with him too.
Yes.
I'm gonna give me a poke.
But I can understand, you know, because when you want to quarrel and the person not responding, man.
Right. Yes. You know what I learned, and just like the Bell, you know that Elder Bell said, his mother taught him to use, you know, don't use anger against anger. So I try that. Trust me, I try that all the time. But
excellent.
But the best thing still, and let me advise all of the single men that are here. Always give the woman the last talk.
They say that a happy wife is a happy life.
Right.
And I so agree with that.
Don't try to two. Because if you're two, it now got done and you can't win. You can't win. No.
And with marriage, it's all about coming to ensure that everybody at the end of that everybody wins at the end of the day. All right. So to the Fletchers, what has been the biggest lie that you had to debunk when you got married?
Wow, that's well, I don't know if it's a lie, but you just have to learn to communicate and accept that, boy, even though you may not be wrong, sometimes you have to learn to say you're sorry in order to make things work well. And so even if you're not wrong, right? And you have to know that a happy wife makes a happy life, as they say. So
oh yeah.
My responsibility is to work for my wife's happiness. I don't know about debunking a lie, because it's not that we never knew that marriage would come with challenge. It comes with challenges. Sometimes we argue. I mean, I wouldn't say we curse, we argue. We argue whether it is enriched or enriching. Look at that, enriched or enriching. We argue over those things. And some other little things we argue about. But then at the end of the day, the same thing over which we argue, we end up laughing about. You understand? So it's really getting to better understand and appreciate yourself, and to know that it doesn't matter what comes your way, that you have to just decide to work on your, because it is work. It is serious work. In fact, I normally tell Kadish that her responsibility in life is to study me, understand me. So she's supposed to become a specialist in genealogy, if you understand what I'm talking about.
Like the master, that's so Sister Fletcher, are you at the master's level now or the PhD level? Wait, which level?
It's at the college level.
It's at the college level. Okay.
And sorry, but sometimes she tells me that I am the wife in the relationship. I don't know what that means.
Oh my God. You are so, these couples are making me want to think about getting married. So here's the question now. Back to the Fletchers. What is it that you had to compromise? And this is for the wives first. What is it that you had to compromise in order for your relationship to work?
Sharing my space. That was the biggest compromise for me. Somebody is speaking.
Yes, somebody is speaking. Just hold a moment. We're going to have the Fletchers speak, then we're going to have the other couples afterwards. Go ahead, Sister Fletcher.
Right. Sharing my space was one of the most challenging things I had to compromise on. Because I lived on my own, I liked my space a particular way. So I never had the challenge of sharing anything else, but just my space was one of the most challenging things to compromise on, to allow somebody into my physical space. Because I like to create this kind of a sanctuary in my space. So that was one of the most challenging things for me to make the marriage work.
So Sister Fletcher, in sharing your space, what was one thing that you found to be very annoying that he did that interrupted your sanctuary?
Keeping the socks in the shoes as opposed to putting them in the basket where they belong. Yes.
I know it had to be the socks and the shoes thing, you know. It seems to be a prevalent thing when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
And it is the first I am knowing that. So thank you for
No,
this
it is
opportunity.
that. Yeah, it's a common thing. This socks and shoes. It's so weird. Thank you very much. Sister, Mr. and Mrs. Samuels, what was one of the things that, Sister Samuels, what is the thing that you had to give up or compromise for your relationship to work?
As she rightfully said before, my space, right? And another one, I did not like to socialize, but on the other hand, my husband is somebody who's very talkative. He easily makes friends, right? So I had to really compromise being by myself, always wanting to be myself, and be that of a wife who is there with my husband, having conversation with his friends and having a good time.
Okay, so it was space. So when were you able to tell him that, you know, I'm not feeling so comfortable when you're in my space? How did you make him know that you never really liked it?
I always gave him the look. When it's my time for my time, I just give him that look, and he knows that it's your time. So I just have that alone time.
Can you teach me the look? So that is okay. Thank you so much for that. To the bells. Thank you very much, Sister Brother and Sister William. Samuel, sorry. To the bells. What did you have to give up, Sister Bell, in order to make your relationship work with your husband?
Well, so long. I think maybe your freedom, being single.
Oh yes.
Don't have no cares in this life, because you know when you don't have no cares, you don't have a husband, you don't have no children, you have nobody to say move, sir, move. I know, you know, you're married to this man, and I like to sleep on certain side of the bed. And when I'm going to my bed, I don't like anybody lay down in the spot that I supposed to lay down. And my husband loves to lay down at the spot I love to lay down, but I'm going to lay down. And I don't like to feel the bed warm when I lay down. My bed must feel cool. And then you come and lay down there, and I don't like it.
Oh, Brother Ben.
There's a situation that don't lay down in my spot because you hot up the spot and the place get hot. You have to share that.
You have to share the hot spot with him. And you want what, Brother Bill?
I have a special spot on the bed that I sleep.
It's your special spot, sir.
Right. This is my spot. Yeah. And he always love waiting in there.
I had no idea that I've laughed about a bed spot so much. I mean, marriages are so interesting. A warm spot. Imagine Brother Bill warming up the spot for him lovely wife, and she said, no, warm up the spot. Thank you so very much. So to the Williams now. Williams, what was the greatest thing that you had to compromise to allow your marriage to work?
For me, it was freedom, like Sister Bell. I used to roam Jamaica everywhere. Mr. Scott can't even call too hard. I am there and I'm going everywhere Mr. Scott is going. If it's church, if it's whichever parish, I'm there. And getting married, I couldn't do that. I have to say, Romy, I have I can't, and the words can't come, and that was like, oh Jesus, it still hurts not being able to just go everywhere whenever I want. I used to be the first one at church and the last one to leave. All right. I was at every event, everything that church have. It's camp, Bible bowl, whatever it was, pathfindering, whatever. Jamboree, I was there. But now it's like I have to just stay home sometimes because the thought of having to say, talk about it, discuss it, I want to go here or I want to go there. Sometimes it's not going to work. So sometimes I just leave it because we are tired at times because my husband doesn't eat on the road. So I have to cook everything from breakfast to dinner has to be cooked. He's a vegetarian. I'm not. Well, I don't eat on the road either, but I would not cook because I know where to eat. So I have to cook. So we're tired and it's not possible to go out all the time, but that is one of the greatest things that I've had to compromise with because I just love going out. If I could, I would go out every single day of the week, every day.
So
yes, and just to add quickly, Alcia, growing up in the Adventist church, we as men, we know about the 3 P's, protector, provider, and the priest. So one of the things that I had to really come to terms with is because originally I had money at my disposal to do whatever I want to do with it, and I'm just being real. I had money to do just whatever I want with it. So now I got to the place where I have to take care of my wife. So my money is her money.
Whoa! Wait a minute. We soon come to the part there. Please don't talk about the money part yet.
So don't touch that yet.
No, because we come into the finance because finance is one of the biggest areas that's causing marriages to be wrecked. And I want to know how much bank book we have. So before we reach there, just let me ask some other questions.
All right, no problem.
Thank you so very much. No. Questions now. To the Fletchers. How open was your family to your spouse? Did they like it? Did they like the person who you're gonna get married to, or they just tell you don't get married to her now?
No, well, for us, it was pretty easy for us, especially because Dan would have known some of my siblings already. So it was an easy transition for us. We didn't have any of
we never had those challenges because some of our parents would have known some of my relatives and that kind of a thing, right? It wasn't so difficult. I remember one time because we both are from Hanover, as I said. So before we reached this far, I happened to have given a cousin of mine a lift to Kingston, right? But then I transported Kadish as well, and I brought her to work. And by the time I dropped her off, my cousin said to me, "I only hope so you don't make this a one you sleep out here, you know." You understand? That's how it was. No, I see, yeah, I didn't tell her because I didn't want her to think too much of herself. You understand me? So, yeah. So that's how it was.
Yeah,
It was
those
smooth
challenges
sailing.
because
Never had those challenges.
family members who already knew each other.
And you know, you meet somebody like you see a young lady and you say, wait, you wonder if she's like too IT. I mean, can I say IT-tighty?
Hoity-toity, yes.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. She never appeared to be like that. I mean, it's later on I discovered so. Yeah, so it was smooth. It was
Later you found that out. Okay, one of the things I enjoy about tonight, the Fletchers, is how real you are. I love the realness because sometimes we believe that because you are ministers, that your life is kind of stiff, starch, and boring. But it's really nice to know that you are
at home.
I am a minister at home.
No, he's not
I am
a
at her
minister
service
at
at home. And I never wanted you to have too much of a colorful interpretation of my expression. But while she expressed that she was just concerned about giving up her space, I guess she let you know how much she enjoys when I occupy her space. She'll understand that. Express that to you now. Yeah. And I see Brother Sam enjoying that too. Yes.
Okay, we had a little break in what you were saying a moment ago.
Oh, I was saying that earlier. She mentioned about she was concerned about giving up her space. But what she never told you is that upon us becoming one, how much she enjoys when I occupy her space.
Well, I can see that you're both blushing and in blue. So I know for a fact that you're still dating way after marriage. That's excellent. There's a question still though. So you are now married for how many years? Just remind me.
5 years.
5 years and 1 month.
5 years. And one
month.
You have been counting. No. Do you still bring home chocolates? Do you still do the flowers? Do you still date her? Do you still have special nights?
Not as much as I'd want to, but I do take care of her. I take care of her to the extent that anytime I shop for her before I shop for myself. So if you see her looking good, just consider it that I've done something wonderful for her. So she doesn't shop for herself, excepting for a few things.
I have to agree with that one. And that's why he's the wife in the relationship. I don't
okay, lovely. You know, they say that men forget dates, but he doesn't seem like he forgets dates any time.
Yeah, he remembers the dates, he remembers those things. I have to write it down.
Thank you so very much for that.
Please don't go and say pastor a wife. Don't do that.
No, we will. What happens in Zoom stays in Zoom. All right. So let us go over to the Samuels. And the question is also the same.
What the question? Repeat the question for me again. Bride to be dressed in her full white, like she's getting married.
And all these stuff. All right. So the question that I wanted to ask is that, were your family supportive in who it is that you were going to get married to?
Let me give you a drama. My mother is the type of person. She was. And if she doesn't like you, you will know it. Because once you're in her presence and you see she go and leave you, she like tell you evening and so on, you know, the normal courtesy, and then she leave.
Yeah.
Trust me, she don't like you. But with Kelly now, it was a bit different. She took on to Kelly She called her daughter. Before I could introduce her to the family, my mother took her and introduced her to the entire family.
Wow.
So it was basically a smooth transition as it relates to Kelly and I. But me afraid for meet Kelly mother still. Kelly mother, they kind of, Kelly mother was the one way you could have just approach like that and say, "Oh, I'm with your daughter." No.
May I ask a question, please, Sir Raymond? I know that you were married for 9 years. Congratulations, and to many more. But do you still date her after marriage? Like, what's the dating thing like after marriage?
We went on a very epic date last night.
Woo!
Yesterday was her birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
First, listen. Let me tell the single men and those who are still. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Bell is a true example, right? And let me tell you, men, treat your wife just as how you would treat her when you're courting. And trust me, she will keep that. You don't have to do much. Just treat her nice, and you will get that reward that you always want. She will always excite you. She will always make you feel that,
Yes.
Explain it. Don't
forget
marriage and you don't know.
All right. So your family was all in about it. How did you try? Was there anybody in your family or any friends at all who felt as if she was not good enough for you?
Yeah, man.
All right, don't answer that one. Don't answer.
Yes, man, they have a sister. Yes. I have a sister. You see my sister? All right, my sister never liked her at first. I guess, because Kelly kind of stush them time. And one time, Kelly stush bad, stush.
She's from Marymount.
Yeah.
She's well cultured.
Yes, she have this.
What does he expect? She's from Marymount.
Yes, Miss
Exactly.
Barnett. Yes, Miss Barnett. Yeah, man. But she had this tush thing about her, and I guess that was something that my sister didn't like, And normally if my sister would see her with any meal, definitely, me, I get that call later for saying, me see her down the road, So I guess that's basically it. Other than that, we didn't have any.
You didn't have any. All right. So thank you so very much for that. Let us know. I went to St. Mary High School for the persons who are asking in the group. The St. Mary High School, for those who are just checking. So the why tonight is because of the topic, not because of Marymount. So back to the bells. Was everybody in love with your husband to be? The bell.
Yes.
Everybody was in love with Brother Bell?
Well, my mother was okay with him. My father wasn't there. My father used to travel, so he wasn't there. And when he came back, we were already married. And sometimes when I want to talk to him or to say something, I have to say excuse because my father would have him at the corner talking. The whole day that he came, have him. And so I didn't have a problem with my family and him. They love him until now. My mother don't call my husband by his name, like we say, his pet name is Carol. Right? And my mother would never come and say, Carol so-and-so, Mr. Bell. That's the way she addresses him at all times. Mr. Bell. And I can't say anything bad about Mr. Bell. My mother would put me in my place. Especially in this first time,
yeah,
she put me in my place and make me know, say, well, and I study this thing, so you must so and so and so. And sometimes I want to tell her some word, but I can't tell her because of my mother. You understand? So I didn't have any problem with my family and him. They love him.
They loved him. Now, still with you, the Bells. What was the hardest thing that you had to deal with when you got married? What was the hardest thing that you had to deal with? Brother Belly can answer this one for me. The hardest thing that you had to deal with.
Well, for me, maybe you don't remember, but I was living in Fellowship at the time, and he was living in around Shrewsbury, Fruitvale, that direction. So he had to go and come, right? So like when he left, like Monday morning, won't be back until Friday. That was very hard for me because I miss him when he's gone. You understand? So I have to wait. And those days I didn't have phone to call and thing, you know, nothing's going in their head and thing. So I have to wait until he come. And some Friday when you're looking, he wouldn't come. And you wonder what caused him not to come. And then maybe Monday or Tuesday see him come and say, boy, things never work out, me never get no money. I remember you still telling him, look, come still, because those days are not like when you have phone, you can call and you say, well, me never get through with me that look bored, so me can't come and have the money. But the money wasn't the problem at that time. You want to know that he's okay, you want to see him come with the money or not, you want to see him.
Thank you so much, Sister Bell. I can understand. Whoa. Brother Bell, you're blushing like ever. What was the hardest thing it is that you had to deal with when you got married?
Oh, a whole heap of things because, as you know, my life is kind of different because what they would call it today, a street person. Was here, there, and everywhere, whole heap of friends, different type of life.
Yeah.
And have to put all of that aside and stay with the family. Now you know that you have to make some sacrifice. So it was at first kind of hard, but after a while everything
got easier.
just fall in place. So my life was a little bit different from most of those who grew up in the church and stay in the church and get married in the church. But coming from outside and to walk in certain line, it kind of difficult, but I always remember Philippians 4:13.
Yeah.
I can do all things through Christ.
Yes. Thank you so very much, Bells. I mean, you are ringing in our minds words of wisdom that we would not even have thought about. So thank you so much for that. To the Williams, the question same to you too. What was the hardest thing that you had to deal with when you got married? Brother and Sister Williams.
The hardest thing we had to deal with when we got married.
Yes, yeah.
Understanding that I am no longer single. Yeah, it may sound simple, but that's the reality. You know, normally I did not have to report to anybody.
Report?
Yeah, I go where I want to go, do what I want to do. Just be me. So now I am living for someone else. You know, like what Galatians 2:20 says. For those who know Galatians 2:20, You know, the life that I now live is no longer for myself, but for my wife. And that come in a realistic way by practice, being consistent, being dedicated, and being committed to the task. Yes.
Sister Williams, what was the hardest thing that you had to deal with?
Having to deal with him always being in my space. Yeah, that was always. As I said,
Like,
I was I describe myself from time to time, and I say I'm a free range chicken.
What?
Yes, I always say it, I'm a free range chicken, and I just like to I like to be by myself. Like I'll be out there at work, at church, out with my friends and my family. But when I get home, that is me, all about me. I don't want to have to deal with anybody. So you will call me and I probably don't answer the phone or stuff like that. I just want to be by myself, and then just having to have him here with me all the time when I get home, and there is no what you say now?
Me space.
There's no me time, there's no space. Yeah, it was kind of hard to deal with. Really hard to deal with, but it's better now. I mean, he's not going anywhere, so it's better now. I'm dealing with it. I'm dealing with it, and that's good. And that's good. So, but it was a challenge for me.
It was a challenge
because I'm this person. I like my space.
So Sister Williams, yeah. Based on how you both hug up right now, we don't understand the need for space. But
yeah, as I said, I'm dealing with it.
How have
yeah, one of the things that's paramount, you know, Alcia, is that as couples, we have to realize that it is okay for each other to get their me time and their me space.
Yes.
And, you know, over the years, would have learned to accept this fact. So even though we are one, our oneness allows us to have our individuality.
Right.
And that is paramount in cohesiveness for the marriage and for marriage growth and all of that.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Brother Williams, you're reading my question. Stop it. All right.
Thank you.
To the Samuels, what was the hardest thing that you had to deal with when you got married?
All right. The hardest thing that we had to deal with was I lived a life. Kelly lived a life. You know, when we were getting together, I think this was the most challenging time because children were involved, and I can't be living with my parents and having a wife living with her mother.
Okay.
So in that time, we get in a house together. Kelly finishing her degree at the same time, and then she wanted a December wedding in December. It was really hard for us. We saw some real hard times during this period because when we finally got the house, we had to move into a house that was when you talk, the house talk back to you saying the same thing that you're saying. So this was the hardest time for me because at the time, and for her too, because we had to let go a lot of stuff that we once used to do. Like for example, I at the time I loved to party. That would have to cut out. I had my own car at the time. I had to sell it. So yes, we went through a very, but the good thing, my wife loved farming. So, she probably got Papto and Callaloo. So I remember we eating Papto and Callaloo like for like a year. So we hit like every day. But I'm grateful, and I know that it has taught us humility and how to be humble and to be grateful for the things we have now. So I think that was what I had. But that was
Boy, Sister Samuel, I can't believe that you're a farmer. Persons are saying that the way you sush, they never know, so you know to work in a bush. But looks are deceiving.
I do a lot of farming. Even since COVID, I am farming even more.
Yeah, I tell you. All right, so what was the hardest thing for you though?
Well, he basically said it because I was doing a degree, right? And buying a house, getting married the same year, having a 2-year-old at the time, we had a lot on our plate. So we had to learn to deal with all of that.
I remember we had a big TV, the big back TV then, them.
Yeah, the big one.
And I had to put it up on this. It was like a box. Because nothing was in the, so when we eating dinner, we would sit on the ground, and we watch a big back TV. I remember our 2-year-old I don't remember what he was trying to do with the TV. I was watching the TV, and the TV turned over upon him,
Oh Lord.
Turn over. We have to run and take up the TV off it because everything was basically on the ground. We had no furniture. So it was a real trying year for us, but when you look back at it now, you realize that the strides we would have made together was definitely, it was worth it.
Wow. So these challenges indeed were adventures that built your relationship. All right, Thank you so much for that. To the Fletchers, what was the hardest thing that you had to do?
Did you say had?
Hardest thing that you, what is the hardest thing that you have to do now that you're married?
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be past tense, right? You see that time for me is critical. Mark, please understand that for the most part, we try to have a balanced life. We set appointments. You mentioned date earlier. I don't know if I would consider it date, but sometimes we have family time, family outings. So we try to meet those. But there comes a time when it's not a date, it's not a special occasion, but you just want to chill with your wife, or you want your wife to come home. And it's me saying that. Marcus, you understand, sometimes I'm in Mandeville, I'm all over and church and stuff, but it's different when you want your wife to come home and your wife say, oh, I'm just sending this last email and then I'll be coming to you. And you say, I'm leaving at 4. And then you wonder really when is 4. You understand me? So I normally tease her that she's married to her job. You understand me? But I mean, I don't like it, but we make fun of it. So it's even about learning to make fun of the things that you don't like.
Okay, no, still with you. Don't leave. No, finance is a big thing in marriages. And
call me. I'm a job for a finance bill.
There's somebody talking. Can you kindly mute for me kindly? Thank you so much for that. You are both working, and finance is a big thing in relationships. No, I was always told that females must always have their get back's money. That was one of the things that we were told growing up. When you are now married, do you believe that you should still be sharing your accounts, or you should be having separate accounts? Because what is finance like now that you are married?
Well, I think I can tell you this, that I have absolutely no problem if she keeps her get vexed money, right? Because if she keeps get vexed money, it's me same one going to spend it. You understand? So she can keep as much as she wants. In terms of finances, we don't need to, not that we don't have joint accounts, but we don't need joint accounts to function, right? Any money she gets is my money. Any money I have is her money. She would sometimes tell me of some money that she's getting, and because she knows some of the projects which we are undertaking, she would tell me, don't bother spend it off, And then I would tell her, by the way, it's done already. You understand me? So that's how we roll. I mean, anything, and I may have money, right? I may have money someplace, and I can't just go and use money that I have just so. If I'm going to access some funds, for example, we have workers loan fund at the Jamaica Union Conference, where I mean across the union, every worker across the union may save, right? So you can access, or if you're gonna get loan, you take based on your shares. So I may look and say, boy, I have this amount saved up, and I can get this off my account. I can't just go and pull it like that and say, boy, it is at work, it is my money. No, I can't do that, because it's not my money alone, it belongs to us. Understand me? So that's how we relate to finances.
Okay, thank you so very much.
As a couple, you have to decide
Your own dynamic.
Your own dynamics, right? Dane is the person who will go shopping, and this is not just grocery, but clothes and those things. I'm not. And so he's the spender, I'm the saver.
Okay.
And so what we do is he spends and I'll save. But I'm not saving for me, I'm still saving for us. So you have to decide what works for you. And it also depends on what is happening now, what is happening in your relationship at the time, for you to determine that.
Okay, yes. Thank you so very much. Okay, thanks so much for that. All right, moving on. So just a quick announcement in the group. All the persons who have questions, kindly text the questions to me. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to be going into the game section of the couples game section, which will be hosted by Pastor Mighty. So jumping over to the Williams, refinances. Issue, non-issue, joint accounts, doesn't matter. What's hers is mine, what's mine is mine.
Definitely. You know what Pastor Fletcher said is definitely our mantra as well, because when if you analyze the thing carefully, if it is that you're gonna put 50-50, say you're putting 50-50.
Yeah.
If 50-50 thing don't work, both of you have to put 100.
Yep.
So in totality, you're gonna get 200 if you're looking at it from that perspective. So both persons contributing 100% in terms of finances. So as it stands now, neither of us have a joint account. We don't have a joint account. We have separate accounts, separate bank accounts, separate credit union accounts, but all of us have access to each other's accounts. Yeah, both of us. Yes, thank you, teacher. Both of us have access to each other's accounts, and there is how is that word pronounced, babes? Transparency. Transparency.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the word.
See, the thing is, it's not that we don't want to have joint accounts, but based on the amount of accounts that we have, it doesn't make any sense. Because I have two bank, well, three, because I have a Scotia, I have NCB, I have Jamaica National, I have 2 credit union accounts. Romain has probably similar amount. No, Asia, no.
$1,000 can
So-
whole account, Sister William.
So the thing is, we don't really see the need to open new accounts. So what we do is just to make all accounts that we have accessible. Not that we have money here and there, but because of jobs and all sorts of things, you end up with some certain accounts. So we just make sure that all accounts, credit card, whatever it is, everything is just accessible to each other, and wherever our savings need to go, we both of us have savings in that area. So at the end of the day, we're together in that regard.
Mhm.
So question though, do you need to inform each other when there's going to be a transaction, like a big spending, or you're just allowed to use it and you don't have to tell if you use it or not? Is there any level of accountability?
Definitely.
Yes. There are certain things that we do that I wouldn't say you don't have to discuss, but we give each other allowance. So when we get our salaries, we know that there is an allowance within the salary. So for example, we might say, okay, 5,000 each, and you can spend that however you want, and that's different from whatever we're gonna spend as a family. And outside of that, we will discuss when we are going to make other big purchases. But we discuss everything. If we're going to buy grocery, we discuss it. If we're going to pay the bills, my husband don't remember everything every time.
True.
So we are always discussing everything. So we discuss the bills. If we're going to buy gas, it is discussed. So my husband said, okay, I need to go and buy some gas. Hold some money, I go now. Yeah, everything. Everything
Yes,
get talked about.
So just a quick point, Alicia, because I know you're gonna need to move on quickly, but I need to make this point. No, the Lord would have given us a tithing mechanism.
Right.
In our church, tithe and offering. We know that. Now, if generally we are dishonest with our finances with God, if we're not honest, it's going to be difficult for us in our marriage relationships to be honest with our partners. And we can't overlook it, that's one of the principles that God would have instilled, especially for us as Seventh-day Adventists, for those who are Christians online as well. We know that it is a practice that we should have been doing even before we have gotten into a marriage union. Right. So then and there, it would have become easier to be faithful to your partner, because you would have been faithful to God financially all this time.
Yeah. So no, but all right. Let me ask thank you so very much for that. The Samuels, finances. Hers is hers, mine is mine. Who beg now get, who beg no want.
No, what we do, we budget together on a monthly basis. So I know what he's getting, he knows what I'm getting. So we put them together, we budget, and we spend from there. Not what is his is his, what is mine is mine. We don't do that.
Question I'm asking you, but to Mr. Samuels, do you have a problem if your wife was making more money than you?
No.
Mrs. Samuels, if you were making more money than your husband, would you be open to just let him spend it, and or give him a larger allowance like what the Williams would do? Would you have a problem with that?
No, because he's spending for the household, he's spending for his family. So I would definitely not have a problem with that.
All right.
One thing though, as it relates to the car, I just drive and he maintains.
One of the things that I've seen so far with the patterns is that where one person has a deficiency, the other person has the strength. So there's always a balance. There's always this balancing act, and I love it. You know, one would have thought that they always say that you marry your opposite, but here it seems like you really marry your complement, really than opposite. All right, thank you so very much. So the last question goes to the bell, and then we're going to invite Pastor Mike to do the couples game. So brother, sister Mike, sorry, my sister bell. How manage finances in your, within your marriage?
You're breaking up. Please repeat your question.
Okay. In regards to marriage, how do you plan money? How is money management done in the family?
Well, from the beginning, I'm not working. My husband told me that I should stay home and take care of the children. He even give me an example and said, when I leave them out and they come out, they're very small, and if they come and they might cry, we don't know what happened to them. So I must stay home and take care of them. He will take care of us. So he's the one that do the working, and his money is my money.
And we don't have a problem in finance, because even if she have the money, we know how to get it.
Are you hearing?
Oh, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that finance is not a problem, because even if she have the money, I know how to get it. So we don't have a problem with the money.
But I'm not working, so I don't have any money for you to.
We are a little bit different, because we don't have any baby anymore.
Okay.
They all
so that means you have more times to go on date, man.
Huh?
You have more time to go on dates.
We're always on dates.
Oh. See, you know, Brother Bell, you and I need to have a talk, because I need to write a book. So for all the persons who are asking about the book, yes, I'm going to write a book about couples and all the works and singles. All right. So I'm going to be pausing for a moment. I'm going to invite Pastor Mighty to take over right now. And he's going to be responsible for having the couples game. So couples, I hope you know your answers, because it's time for the wedding games. Over to you now, Pastor Mighty.
Thank you very much, Sister Barnett. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful, wonderful. I just want to thank you. You've been doing a wonderful job, and want to say thanks to the couples too. I just hope that next time around, Sister Barnett will be interviewing you. So good evening, everyone. The name of the game is Perception, and the aim of the game is to see how well you know your spouse, and also if you perceive each other in the same way. Here's how it goes. Each couple will be asked a series of 5 questions, and at the end of each question, couples, if you think the question applies to you, point to yourself and say me. If you think it applies to your spouse, however, point to your spouse and call their name. Just an example, who is the taller of the two? A very obvious and simple example. If you believe that you're the taller of the two, point to yourself and say me. And if you believe your spouse is taller, point to your spouse, whether they're on your left or right above your head like the Williamses, and say their name. I hope it's very clear. Each unified or agreed response will be worth 10 points, and the couple with the most unified responses will take home a special prize. During the questions, however, couples, you will be asked to close your eyes. I hope that the instructions are very much clear. So let's go ahead, everyone, and play Perception. Let's see if these couples know each other or see each other in the same way. The first couple we are going to begin with are Pastor and Sister Dean Fletcher. Are you ready, Fletchers?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So here are your 5 questions. Question number 1, who is the better driver? All right, I repeat, say your name or say me and point to yourself and close your eyes. That response was noted. I do, my scorekeeper is making note of those. That was question number 1. Question number 2, who is better at cooking?
Dane.
Kadish. Oh, you're right at this.
Oh, yes. Who is, all right. Question number 3, who has the greater family ties or who is closer to their family? All right. Question number 4, who said, I love you first?
Dane.
Dane.
All right. And your final question, who says, I love you more often now?
Dane.
All right. So the Fletchers, thank you very much for your responses. I do hope that you are able to fetch the victory. Tonight, we move to our second couple, who is, they are the most seasoned couple of the group. And just as Pastor Lindsay said earlier, they have been ringing for 33 years, and I hope that tonight they'll be able to ring their way to victory. Are you ready, Bells?
Yes.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Now, your first question, here it goes. Who is the first to apologize? Close your eyes, don't look at each other, close your eyes.
Oh, close the eye. Okay. First apologize. Me.
All right, that's your final answer. I'm going to take that one as your answer. Question number 2, who likes to spend more? I didn't get your response, Sister Bell. Okay, all right. Now we move on to question number 3, who likes to work more? Wonderful, wonderful. Your answer is noted. Question number 4, who is more talkative? All right, and your final question, who is more creative? Sister Bell, waiting on your response. Okay, that's your final response. All right, thank you very much to the Bells. Give it up for the Bells. The third couple we have, Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Samuels. Are you ready for your questions?
Yeah, man.
Yes, we are.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So here is your first question. Who has the better laugh? All right, question number 2. Who tells the best jokes or the better jokes? All right, question number 3. Who is more spontaneous? Close your eyes, don't look at each other. I'll have to throw out that question because you were looking at each other.
All right.
All right, so close your eyes, close your eyes. You'll be able to hear me if you close your eyes. Who is more likely to get lost on a trip? I see. And that was question number 3, right? Question number 4, who is most likely to ask for direction or more likely to ask for directions? Doing well, doing well. And your final question, who takes more pictures? Thank you very much, Sir and Lady Raymond Williams. I pray that you guys did well enough to claim the victory tonight. And our fourth and final couple, Mr. and Mrs. Romaine Williams, the posers, the models for tonight. Are you ready for your questions?
Ready?
Ready.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, close your eyes.
Make a wish.
All right, so here is your first question. Who is the healthier eater? I'm not hearing anything.
Romaine.
Okay. Question number 2. Who puts their clothes away first?
Jamie. Shanaki.
Thank you very much. Question number 3. Who is on their phone more?
Romaine.
I don't like how you're delaying your responses, you know, Sir Will. Question number 4. Who is the better singer?
Shanaki.
All right. And finally, question number 5. Who is, oh yes, who gets ready first?
Shanaki.
All right. Am I seeing where that finger was pointing at you, Brother Williams? Or it was pointing at her?
Me.
Interesting. All right. So I hope that my scorekeeper, thank you very much, Sir and Lady Williams. I hope that your sheer willpower will allow you to win tonight's game of perception. I hope that my scorekeeper has the scores for us. All right.
Yes, sir, are you ready for them?
Yes, I am ready for the scores.
All right, so we have the Fletchers at 40, the Bells at 40, the Williams at 40, and the Samuels got all 5.
Oh, yeah. So I wish you were able to applaud the Samuels who did. Repeat that, Pastor?
I think that this system is rigged.
Is rigged? To be honest, I wouldn't say so because I actually have you at 30. So if I gave you my score,
that's why it is rigged.
All right. Thank you very much, couples, for participating. And the winning couple, as they said, as my scorekeeper said earlier, Sister Hamilton, the winners are Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Samuels. And I want brother and sister Samuels to make some noise so we can see them. Make some noise. Don't be hiding now. No, it's not the time to hide.
Let them give us a kiss.
I can't see the Samuels. Are you here?
You did not see that just now.
Oh no, you have to make a sound so your
the camera come up.
Okay. Yes. So anything before this was illegitimate. So now it's the official one. So I'm going to ask you to, yeah man, everybody missed it. So tonight, your prize, you're going to look to the person to either your left or your right, your neighbor. Look to your neighbor. Look your neighbor in the eye. Come on.
Ready?
Yes. Look your neighbor in the eye. The prize. Come on, man. Look your neighbor in the eye. All right. Yes. And I assume that other prizes may follow. But I do want to congratulate you and the other couples who weren't as successful. I don't bother to fight or to have any problems now. You can go ahead and give each other a kiss. We may not all see them, but God sees it and you see it. We're all winners here. So thank you again for playing Perception. And I hope that you guys will remain blessed. Sister Barnett, back over to you.
Thank you so very much. All right. And so it's getting late and we know that the couples have to get to bed. Brother Bell, do not warm up this bell. She does not like it.
No,
But, we're going to be opening, when they ask the host to help, we're going to be allowing persons to ask questions to the couples, any queries that you want and anything that you want to clear up. And then after that, we're going to be having, no, sorry. Leo is going to sing for us first. So get your questions ready. Leo is going to sing for us right now. And when Leo ends, we're going to ask you just for about 15 minutes, just ask some questions. And then I'll give the closing remarks and then we'll be whoosh, we'll be out of here. So Leo, over to you.
Correction, it's not singing. The musical interlude is a small video that we'll be playing.
Okay, great. So interlude along. Go ahead.
Okay.
Elise, my love, my heart, my shout, my little blessed be, my everything. From the first 3 times I laid eyes on you, I thought I was in love with you.
Love is what you say.
But then came our first date when you spoke your mind on how I was not attractive. I didn't have a chance.
Love is how you work it. Love is what you say. Love is when you're talking. Love
Okay. As I stand before you, I want to make sure that you know that I'll try my best to remain the man that you fell in love with. I know you call me the stubborn one, so it's only fitting that I continue that trend. So this dedication will detail the things that I won't be able to do in this marriage. I'll be gentle, I promise.
Special when you have someone you can share it with. I bet you love is so much fun. Love is letting go and love is holding on. God is love and love is God. I guess the song is done. Woman, you must love your husband. Make him feel on top of the world. Woman, you take care of your man and don't.
You know, a lot of people ask like, oh, you know, do you have an uncle? Do you have a brother? Do you have a brother? Do you have somebody, a cousin? And I go, well, no, it's not. I think there are a lot of good men out there in the world, and I think that's the problem. A lot of people don't know that there are a lot of good men and a lot of good women, but they have to want to be married. That's the thing. At the end of the day, they have to want to be in a relationship, and you know, society at this point has made marriage not look sexy at all. Because it just doesn't look fun, and it looks boring, and it looks like a lot of work.
Yeah. What is it really? I feel like for me, it's really simple. You know, and it depends how you live your life. I go, it's like self-love for 2. And that's how I think about it. Every day. Anything that I would like do for myself there's one other human being that I have to make like another serving for, or you know what I mean? And
if I make coffee, then I should.
then I'll just make a little more coffee. That's what I think of marriage as. It's like a little more coffee.
Oh, thank you so very much for that. I know that some persons had onions cutting, so I suppose some persons are crying. So I guess you won't see the videos with them. All right, so two questions came in. If you have a question, just raise your hand and you will be allowed to ask the question. Someone asked this question to the Williams. How long does it take for you to fall in love?
How long does it take for you to fall? I don't know if there's any such thing as fall in love. as I'm learning now, I think it's more like growing in love, because yeah, at first you feel this passion and this excitement and your heart beating fast and all of those nice things, but marriage has taught me that there is no such thing as fall in love. You grow in love, because after the butterflies, after the glitz and the glamour and the wedding dress and everything, you realize that you now have to live with this person, faults and flaws and everything. So yes, you're gonna get the old in love feeling before you get married, but I'm learning now that that's not so real, and it's what we have as falling in love, and the concept of falling in love is really growing in love when you are able to, as Sister Fletcher said, when you are able to take off your mask and be yourself. That is when you actually fall in love, and that's the growing.
All right, thank you so much for that. To the Fletchers, how do you grow as individuals without growing apart?
Mommy, how do you create what?
Or do you grow as individuals?
Individuals without growing apart? I'm not hearing. Your mic is on mute. Can you go again?
For us, we are bent on helping each other to become the best person that we can be. So we are a part of the journey. So Kadish, as she grows, she takes me along with her. We talk about work. I mean, sometimes she would talk about work, and I have learned that I should listen and not necessarily give advice, because sometimes she just wants to vent, right? So it's about sharing about just about anything that happens in your experience, what annoys you, what excites you. So it is as we do this that we will be able to grow together, and we build dreams together. We discuss where we want to go. It's just about knowing that we have to own the experience of being together.
Okay, great. All right, thank you so much. To the Samuels, I want you to answer this for us. What are some qualities should I look for in a spouse?
Again for me, please.
What are some of the qualities that I should look for in a spouse?
So I'm gonna get some of you. All right, let's start first, right? Someone who supports your ideas and not just rubbish them. You need someone who, well, for me, Kelly would inspire me in so many ways. Like we need to get our own place. Somebody who is willing to compromise to push you forward, then bring you behind, pull you along, just as Pastor Fletcher said. And you need somebody who, trust me, supportive, loving, caring. She's some enough done all of them. So
for me, you need a person who listens. Because for me, I love to vent, I love to talk. So oftentimes things might be happening to me at work. And when I get home, I want my partner to be there to listen, right? Somebody who's very supportive, right? So no matter what you're doing, they support you to the fullest, 100%. Somebody is compassionate.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so very much for that. To the bells. So I see that brother and sister Williams, their hand is up. Just a final question to the bell, and then I'll take your hand. To the bells, how long should I wait before I have children after I am married? Do I still have the bells with me? I'm not seeing the bells.
Yes, I believe it depends on how long you know each other, and I believe you shouldn't get children early after marriage because it can cause a problem, because the spouse is going to get jealous. Too much attention going to the baby, and the baby are going to get jealous. Too much attention to the husband. So it can pose problems. You need some time for yourself first before.
All right. Thank you so much, Brother Bell.
And spend more time together so that when the young one come in the midst, it won't cause any problem.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Bell. All right. To the Williams, their hand was up. Can you just ask the question that you wanted?
Okay, I was just adding to the point that the whole matter of falling in love or growing in love, as I like to put it, it depends on your willingness to be open. Once you are willing to be open with this person and be transparent, be vulnerable, then it can happen within a day, it can happen within a year. So it has to do with how open you are and how vulnerable you are willing to be.
Okay, thank you so very much. And I think the Williams may have seen my question, because one of the questions that I wanted to have asked is, at what stage did you feel comfortable to be completely open? And you answered that first already, Sister Williams. So now a question that came in is that divorce rate, it is soaring in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So what advice would you give to couples who are considering divorce? This may be a very weighty question because there are so many factors. So I'm going to ask Pastor Fletcher to answer that question for us.
I appreciate the fact that you said that there are so many factors that lead to persons considering divorce. But you need to firstly acknowledge that there is no problem-free marriage. And if you have problems, it is not a problem, right? When you have problems, those problems can lead to greater solutions, right? So it is for you to assess, to examine the things that you do together that make the other person a better person. Examine the good in the person, and to assess to see if after everything you have invested together, if you're having a problem so great that God can't help you to fix.
And let me just add that before you get to the point where you need to consider a divorce, I think it is something that I don't think in general that we are taught how to have difficult conversations. I don't think that we are taught how to respectfully disagree. And so you want to ensure that your marriage is a space where you can disagree, you can say how you feel about something, because many people think that finances are a reason people get divorces, but you'd be very surprised when you talk things through how many persons get divorced because of little things and intangibles.
Yes, non-essential.
Non-essential,
Yes.
simply because you couldn't, you weren't, you didn't know how to have that difficult conversation and to say, this is something that makes me uncomfortable and this is something that I want you to do something about. In general, we are taught that we should all get along and peace in the world and that kind of thing. But the truth is that we are going to have disagreements. What we must begin teaching in the church at all levels is how to respectfully disagree and how to disagree in a space where nobody feels belittled and less than, so that we don't get to the point where our marriages begin to suffer. Because as I said, we find that we get to this place because we don't know how to say, this is bothering me, and then you explode. And when you get to the root of the problem, it was the fork that was not put in the sink.
Imagine her divorcing me because I didn't put my socks in the wash.
In the wash.
And we should never forget that as husbands and wives, we are on the same team.
Yes.
All right. Now, we have parching is such sweet sorrow, but we kind of have to stop tonight. We are past the mark. Should have been a 30 minutes conversation, but we have gone well over time, over 2 hours in. So what I want to ask each couple to do for me is just give one best practice for marriage. One best practice for marriage, and then I'll do the closing remarks, and then we will have a Sister Blake doing the closing prayer. So let us start off with the bells. The bells, one best advice or best practice for marriage.
Yes.
Wow.
I think the best practice of marriage in marriage is to be honest to yourself. And if you're honest to yourself, you're honest to God and your spouse.
Amen. That's lovely. Simple and profound. All right. Let us go to the Samuels. Best advice?
I was starting to wonder if it's because I love to talk, make you don't want to call on me.
No, it's not that.
All right. It's one, you said one, but this is twofold.
Right, go ahead.
First, you must communicate effectively and efficiently. And the second one is you must understand each other. Without these two, it's impossible. So we must communicate and we must understand each other. Everything falls within these two. So once we have these two, then I think communicate and understanding.
Understand each other. All right, thank you so much. To the Williams, best advice.
I would say one, you must have the difficult conversations. Don't be afraid to ask those difficult questions.
For example?
For example, talk about the finances, talk about intimacy, talk about family background.
And intimacy is not just about sex.
Right. It's about, your own personal self, what you like, what you would want this person to be to you, what you're going to be to this person. Don't be afraid to have those difficult conversations. And my other point, yes, and finances. And we must remember, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. Your partner is not the enemy. He or she is not the enemy. So we're, as Raymond said, we're on the same team.
Never
so
stop praying for your spouse.
We must remember that.
All right.
Okay. To the Fletchers, best advice, best practice.
Okay. Learn to accept differences.
Yes.
You're not the same people. You're never gonna be the same people. If you were the same people, chances are you wouldn't be married. So learn to accept differences. And two, I find that difficult conversations are sometimes better had after sex.
How good was it?
Okay. All right. So thank you very much to the couple. Yeah, go ahead, Pastor.
If you give me a pastoral privilege.
Yes,
if
go
you
ahead.
Give me a pastoral privilege. I'll say grow together. You grow closer to God together. You grow emotionally and just grow together. Grow to God. I mean, towards God. Grow towards your goals, your dreams. Just grow together.
Let's grow together. All right. So thank you so very much, couples. I want to thank the Fletchers, the Bells, the Williams, the Samuels. Thank you so very much for having opened up, giving us a view into what happens behind the curtains, what happens after the wedding day, what happens just every single day.
Yes,
so I must
really
apologize.
Appreciate.
Thank you so very much. You must apologize for the persons who wanted to ask the question, but we kind of have to go. Sister Blake knows this time, and she's a timekeeper, so I have to rush. But remember,
it's not a question, it's a statement. Know that the singles have all this information. You guys need to provide or a space where singles can connect with each other.
Okay, yes. Thank you so very much. We will ensure that that is done. And I hope you were opening your video so that you could possibly spot your husbands or your wives. You know, I hope you were doing that. Yeah. Okay. So the Bells say that you should be honest with yourself. The Samuels say that effective communication and understanding is most important. The Williams say that you should talk, ask those difficult questions about finances, intimacy, everything. And the Fletcher says that you should accept each other's differences and that you grow together as one. Ladies and gentlemen, husbands and wife, applicants of marriage to be in the future, it was a lovely night. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I now hand over to Sister Lloydette, who will be doing the closing prayer. I don't know if Pastor Gordon is going to be saying something to us before we go. But for me, I am Althea Barnett. Have yourself a lovely night and goodbye.
Well, Althea, I'm not saying much, excepting how much I was engaged in this conversation. Thanks so much again, Pastor Fletcher. Thanks, Ella Bell, the Williams, and the Samuels. I was inspired, motivated, and I'll continue this conversation with each of you as I seek to grow myself, Pastor Fletcher. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you so much, Althea. I'm always amazed to sit and listen to you sharing and hosting these programs. God bless you and have a good night, everyone.
Okay, good night, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Let us pray. Our Lord and our Father in heaven, we thank you for this session here. We thank you for the participants, and we thank you for the marriage institution that you have created for us here on earth. Lord, some of us are not yet married. Some are married, and you know what the future holds. So we ask that you bless us, bless our lives, and guide our steps and our decisions. As we go through tonight, Lord, be with us and protect us, I pray. In the Holy Son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Bye. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Night, Pastor.
Night, night.
Good night, everyone.
Mama.